Hello and welcome back to my channel. First thing that's just come to my mind as Joe's turned the camera on is something Naomi said in group this morning. She was at a meeting at head office on Sunday and it was a meeting for consultants, and the emphasis was really free food is for life, not just for February, because of course we've just concluded Free Food February, and I think now Slimming World are much more focused on emphasising that what we should reach for first is free food. That spoke to me because I have a habit of reaching for speed first and imagining that that is going to make a massive difference. And I've watched a couple of videos different people have put up this week, and they've been really good in talking about remembering to put 1/3 speed on your plate. I know for sure that Nikki Ryan put a video up in the week which is about her first trimester of pregnancy and how she's eating, and she emphasised that even though she was making a dish that had lots of speed in it, she still removed some of the free food like pasta from her plate and replaced it with speed. And somebody else mentioned it, I think it was Rebecca Shaw, yeah, I'm sure Rebecca it was you, that we must remember that 1/3 of a plate should be speed. I've been really conscious lately that when I think about fruit and vegetables, I think first of speed. And maybe it isn't the right way. Yeah, I mean the calorie difference is minimal. So and sometimes I think I can get a bit hung up on reducing calories. So it was good for me to hear this morning that free food is for life and not just for February. We've had a really good meeting. It was The Biggest Loser, and 4 of us spoke this morning. I didn't get Biggest Loser, I didn't expect to, because there's a lady who was I think £4 ahead of me, which was wonderful. And in fact that same lady, I'm not going to name her because that's not fair even though you don't know her, but that same lady and I both had gains last week. We both had battles with chocolate last week. She'd had a bigger battle than me, or lost her battle a bit more than I did, and she actually gained £6 last week. But bless her, she came back this morning with a £7 loss. And I think that was just so encouraging and motivational, because she said in her talk that not even in her first week did she lose £7. So it just shows that if you've been going through a difficult time and you feel like you're losing the battle, picking the plan up again like she did this week and actually going back to the basics of the plan, food optimising properly, she got a £7 loss, and she's a Target member. And even with her £6 gain last week, she was still in Target. Okay, she was at the top of her target, but the £7 loss has taken her right back to the bottom of her target. So for a Target member to be able to shed £7 in a week, it shows this plan works. Right, I'll share my results with you, and then I'll share what I did to get them and my thinking and my actions this week. So this week I stepped on the scales, not confident, no, but not unconfident, don't get me wrong, but not confident for a big weight loss, because I did say in a couple of my comments last week, or in answer to a couple of comments last week, I'm giving myself 3 weeks to get off the 2.5 pound I gained last week. I didn't want to go into panic mode and diet mode and try to shed it all in 1 week, because that's not the answer for me. So got to the scales, took my shoes off, got on the scales and lost £0.5 pound. So I was really happy with that. But I'll tell you what I did to get that. I thought about it last Saturday after I'd made my video. I thought about what I needed to do, and my head always goes to diet mode. It's old habits. And you start to think, or I start to think, well, hang on, if I go back to an A and a B choice, so 2 X choices, if I cut my sins to 5, or maybe 5 to 8, if I don't eat this, if I don't eat that, crazy. I'm absolutely as mad as a March hare, I really am. So I sat myself down, gave my head a wobble, and I said to myself, this is no reason to panic. You've gained 2.5 pounds, which has actually taken you £0.5 pound over your actual target. So 2.5 pounds within target range. I'm not out of the top of target. What am I doing this for? So I made a decision to change my breakfast. I thought a change is as good as a rest. So rather than having the quark and the yogurt and the coconut and everything, I've opted this week to have things like boiled eggs and then fresh pineapple and fresh coconut with it. Now that's not an SP breakfast because of course pineapple's free food. not speed food. But it's not what I would usually have. It was a complete change. So I've had eggs and fruit and coconut and things like that most mornings this week. I made a decision at lunchtime, because my lunch is the one meal I could quite happily miss. I have a good breakfast, I have a busy day, I don't think about lunch. I know I should eat lunch, and I do have something, but I have this dreadful habit of falling back on a baby watermelon because I love them. And often it's 2 o'clock before I have lunch because of the things I do. So I made an effort this week and said, no, you've got to have a lunch every day this week. Now, I always emphasise on here that I only eat what I really love. And if you said to me, okay Jane, what do you really like? Tried this week to eat more protein, because I've been a bit lax in protein lately. I can drift into vegetarian food quite easily because I enjoy it. But Joe's often saying to me things like, Mum, you're not eating enough fat, you're not eating enough protein. Okay, I can get my fat in with my avocado, which I have daily, and things like that, my coconut. But protein-wise, I can go days and not eat meat. And I don't eat meat substitutes like corn and things like that. So I do fall down on protein, don't I, Joe?
Yeah, you were slightly.
So, made a decision this week and bought a shed load of fillet steaks. So most days this week I've had fillet steak for lunch, which is one of my favourite things. I love a fillet steak cooked medium rare. Used to have it really rare, but I've gone to medium rare, and a shed load of pickles. I really love pickles. And Joe was in Marks and Spencer's last week and found me some different pickles, little tiny miniature pickled cornichons, and also sliced red onion pickled in white wine vinegar with garlic. That is gorgeous. I think it's about £2 for a jar about this size. But the cornichons I think were £1.50, and they are really nice. And then with that I was also having silver skin onions and different pickles. So at lunchtime I have had a lot more protein, so a 7 or 8 ounce fillet steak every day. And with the exception of one day when I literally ran out of time and had a baby watermelon. So the focus this week had to move in my head from maintenance to weight loss. Because otherwise I'd have just carried on doing what I was doing. I needed a project, I needed a change. So I changed my focus from maintenance to weight loss. And I didn't drastically change sins or anything. I think 3 or 4 days I had 13 sins rather than 15. And 2 days I had 3 healthy extra choices rather than 4. But I didn't consciously strive to do that, it was just how it panned out. And a £0.5 weight loss is fine, because as I say, I am at target. So that's taken me bang on target again. And if I lose another £0.5 next week, that will be great. If I don't, I'll take whatever comes. We haven't been walking very much again this week. I think probably 6-7 miles. But things are changing, the weather's improving, Joe's circumstances are changing, and we've got a wee bit more time this week. So we might try to get some walks in this week, but we won't be stepping it right back up from 0 to 50 miles in the week, because we don't need to do that. And it's not like we're going out there to walk for the sake of losing weight. It is just literally to keep that fitness level up and keep the stamina level up. So hopefully, if Joe's got the time this week, he is a lot better. And so we should be able to get some decent walks in this week. But we're not going to flog ourselves, are we, Joe?
No.
There's no pleasure in doing that. Right, something, I've spoken before about the fact that I found a lot of help through a 12-step programme when I first came to losing weight. And in the area I lived at the time, I knew nothing about Overeaters Anonymous. So I actually started by going to Alcoholics Anonymous meetings and asking for help, because I knew that I have food addiction. I have a lot of problems with food addictions. And maybe one week I'll talk about food addiction. But there is actually now a 12-step fellowship called Food Addicts Anonymous, and that's quite new to me, but I'm going to look into that. Actually see if there are any local meetings near where I live. But isn't it funny, you know, sometimes things happen for a reason and sometimes things happen for a season. And every which way I've turned this week, I've been face to face with the 12 steps. I'm actually currently reading 3 different books. I'm reading a series of books about an assassin called John Milton. I'm really enjoying them, and he's a recovering alcoholic. And the book I'm reading of in that series is currently book 8, I think, and it's called The Ninth Step, and it's referring to the 9th step of Alcoholics Anonymous. Then I'm reading another murder book by, I think it's an Ian Rankin, and in that, again, 12 steps, it comes in again. And then the third book I've actually just finished was A Fake Element, and it came up in that. And I'm thinking, why? Every which way I'm turning this week, am I hitting face to face with the 12 steps? And I think it was a good reminder for me about why am I on this journey? Am I doing this for myself, or am I doing it for other people? Am I doing it to impress someone? Am I doing it to please someone? And actually the truth is I'm doing it for myself. And that's not selfish. It's really not selfish, because the only person on this planet who I can change is me. And I'm not changing me into something I think you'll like, or somebody that I think you'll approve of. I'm changing me in the hope of becoming somebody I'm comfortable to live with, because wherever I go in the world I have to take myself with me. And for many, many years, I would have done anything to escape myself. And I think that was why or one of the reasons why I ate. Because I was always trying to escape a certain situation, a certain feeling, a certain mood. I don't know how better to explain it than that. I just wasn't happy living with myself. And one of my friends used to say to me, Jane, when you're in that kind of mood, you could fall out in an empty room. Even when there's nobody to fall out with, you could fall out with yourself. And a lot of it, for me, is around mood. And when I'm not eating well, i.e. healthily or on plan, my head is just mad, absolutely mad. And I'm finding that realising that I am the only person I can change, that I don't need other people's approvals. Take me or leave me, it doesn't matter. If you come across one of my videos and you think she talks a load of bull, or I don't like her attitude, or she doesn't make whatever, then don't come back. I won't be offended because I won't even know. It's not about me standing here on a Saturday and presenting a show to impress you or please you or change your life, because I can't do that. The only person who can actually change your life is you. There's lots of people vlogging on YouTube and sharing their stories and their experiences, and I pick up bits and hints and tips from other people that really strengthen my journey. I also sometimes watch a video that Joe would tell you has me pulling my hair out, and he's got more wisdom than me and he's so much younger. He just says, well, turn it off. If it doesn't speak to you, or it stresses you, or it upsets you, turn it off, because the person you're watching isn't going to be offended. They don't know that they've said something that winds you up or whatever. And we can all do that. We can all come out with something that actually grates on each other's nerves or whatever. But something that's really powerful that again came up in the 12 steps this week was, don't look for the differences, look for the similarities. And I think one of my problems over the years was I was a person who's very focused on looking for the differences. When I watch YouTube stuff today that's about Slimming World, or when I go to group and I'm in a room full of 70 odd people like I was this morning, I need to just look for the similarities, because we're all there for the same reason. We all ultimately want to lose weight. We might not all believe we can get to target. I never used to believe that. But ultimately we want to be there each meeting and we want to have lost something. So this week I've learned that about myself, that I need to focus on looking for the similarities and not ticking off the differences. The other thing that came up in two of the 3 books I was reading was something called the Serenity Prayer. Now, if you're watching this and you don't have faith or you're not religious, it really doesn't matter, because I'm not talking about my faith, even though I have stood here before and said I'm a Christian. I'm not here to ram my faith down your neck. That's not what I'm about. But there is this prayer, and it doesn't even need to be called a prayer. It could be called a mantra or a saying or just a few words. But it starts with the word God, but you can knock that off. You don't even need to include the word God if that makes you uncomfortable. It really is all that I need to believe is there's something out there, whether it's the universe, Mother Earth, Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad, whatever. I need to believe there's something out there that is more powerful than me. I am not the most powerful thing on this planet. That's for sure. So this prayer, or these words, say, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. That helped me this week because on Tuesday, just something daft and something really simple happened. My cordless G-Tex vacuum cleaner died. Okay, not a big crisis, but a 200 quid expense to replace it. So the old me, again, the initial thought is, this is not fair. I shouldn't have to cope with things like this. Pass the chocolate biscuits, you know? What can I eat to make it feel better? And I have to say to myself, where's your serenity? Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. I cannot change the fact that my vacuum cleaner's just died. It's not life-threatening, it's a first world problem, isn't it? And then a couple of days later, we have a water boiler, a Breville water boiler in place of a kettle, because it's safer when you're blind. And that was on its last legs. Needed replacing. That's another £50, £60 expense. Again, it's a first world problem, it's not a big deal. But the old attitude I had was, I need to eat something to make me feel better. So instead of seeking serenity, I sought food. So again, remember, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. I cannot change the fact that that is packed in. Okay. So grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. The courage to change the things I can. The courage came in when I was looking at the problem and thinking, I need cake, I need biscuits, I need chocolate. It's finding the courage within yourself to say, do you know what? I can get through the next hour without those cakes, without those biscuits, without that chocolate. It's having the courage to say, I am good enough without those substances. So that stood me in good stead this week and stopped me reaching for food of any kind that would have been easy to make myself feel better. And then it says, the wisdom to know the difference. And the difference is, looking at my everyday life, what can I change? What do I need to accept? What do I let affect me? If I let things like the vacuum cleaner breaking, the Breville water boiler breaking, push me back into food, then I'm not living by the courage of my convictions, which is Slimming World works. If I can find serenity in the fact that something like that has happened, and yeah, okay, I've replaced both of those things. So we've got a new vacuum cleaner, we've got a new water boiler. I start fretting about the people who can't afford to do that, and I'm going, right, what if somebody's vacuum cleaner broke and they couldn't afford to replace it? But you know what? I'm just looking for an excuse to eat because that's not my problem. Much as I would love to say I could fix the whole world, I can change your life if you're strapped for a vacuum cleaner, you know, I should be able to do something about it. It's actually not my worry and it's not my problem. And again, that's where the wisdom to know the difference comes in. Because I'm a typical Virgo. I'm a control freak and I would love to fix the whole world. I'd love to mend everybody's problems. I'd love to fix everybody's relationships. But I'm not God and I haven't got any power. And I think sometimes, you know, for me, I used to have too much ego. And it's done me good. It's been quite humbling to sit in the rooms at Slimming World and listen to everybody's different stories. Because we are all walking a different path. Even though we're walking the path to weight loss, our path takes us through different places, you know. Some of us might be going through the bracken and the thorns. Some of us might be skating along on ice. Some people might be walking on a sandy beach. We're all going to be in different places every day on our journey. And just because today I'm walking along a sandy beach and everything's fine, I've got a new Hoover, I've got a new water boiler, you know, the weather's not bad, I don't owe anybody any money. We've got good food in the cupboards and everything. I'm walking on a sandy beach today. Doesn't mean I will be tomorrow. So I'm very much learning about living in the day and just accepting responsibility for myself instead of trying to fix everybody else, but then using them as an excuse to eat over. So it's really, really good at group this morning. It was good to listen to the stories. 4 of us spoke in the Biggest Loser thing. The lady who won had a loss of 5 stone. I currently got a loss at group of 4 stone 11, a total loss of 13 stone 3. But we don't count my loss from before I came to Slimming World because that wouldn't be fair. It's about Slimming World weight loss. And the chap who took the Greatest Loser had a loss of 6 stone 4 pounds, and the guy who came second had a loss of 5. Sorry, that's postman. The guy who came second had a loss of 5.5 stone maybe. There are a lot of wonderful weight losses in the group, and I mean that from the person who joined last week and has lost £2 this week. There are a lot of wonderful weight losses. And we were just talking about the power of keeping coming back. And that for me is great. That's all I need to do. I just need to keep coming back. So that's it for today. That's all I've got to say. And I hope something made sense to somebody. But that's where my week's been and that's how I'm feeling. So just a reminder to say it works if you work it. It won't if you don't. And hope you all have a really good week. So we'll see you next Saturday. Bye.